okay, this experience, actually, I think it could have been 2015, but it was either 2015 or 2014. But yeah, it was really fun. And some of the reptilians, well, like Joel, he likes to give me what I call out-of-body experiences, virtual reality experiences. And some of the reptilians, though, some of those flat-faced beings, they like to give me more, they're still virtual reality and out-of-body experiences, but what I call more lucid dreamy. Like they just, they create them differently than some of them. And it, feels different when you're under the scenario, like you're in a different reality, a different dimension and stuff. So yeah, but like I say, some of those, they're just as plain and clear, just like the virtual reality experiences and out-of-body experiences, but the atmosphere feels different. The lucid, dreamy atmosphere. Yeah, so it's like they create them, some of them, they have their own techniques. So yeah, some of the flat-faced beings, reptilians, they like to give me really cool, like, virtual reality lucid dreams. But Joel, he's not a flat-faced being, but he likes to give me just like bam, out-of-body experiences and virtual reality experiences. But like I say, they all have their own personality and their own technique on how they create your experiences. And like I say, some lucid dreams can be shitty, some are just all the way, A+ or whatever. Oh, well, lately I've been having lucid dreams, but just kind of crappy lucid dreams. But yeah, they could still, when I wake up and everything, the energy and stuff stays with me for many, many hours. Like, it was so funny, like, was it yesterday morning? I think it was yesterday morning. It's like some people, like, they're always taking me to England and stuff under my altered state. And they're putting people in there, the people in there that I went on the crop circle tour with. They've done that like 8-9 times already. And most of them I talked about, some of them I didn't. But yeah, so it was like yesterday, it was just a funny part. I don't know where I was at, but I was with a few people. Dang it, I don't know where I was at. Like, I was just in this building, this room. Like, I don't know, I guess it was part of a hotel or something. I have no idea. That's what I'm saying. It was like a crappy lucid dream, but... And it's like the crop circle members, or the people that went with me, some of the women were there, when they like walked off. That's what it seemed like we were at a hotel lobby or something. And they walked off, but they had a habit, some of the girls had a habit. There was a shelf and like 6 like cups. And they had a habit of putting like their change in there, as well as dollar, money, $5 bill, $10 bills, whatever. And once they left, I like the aliens are always making me steal money and shit, and they give me money too, in my scenarios and stuff. And they're always making me like steal money as well. So anyway, they left their money in there, the change and stuff, and so I took all the change, and then one of the cups had like, was filled full of like the bills, like $15, $17 worth of bills. So I took all that, So I ended up getting like 19, 20 bucks or whatever. But anyway, so that was kind of funny. But the other part was really weird. I walked off, and it's like I walked up some stairs, and my stepdad had handed me one of his drills, and he has a lot of tools and stuff in his garage and stuff. He handed me one of his drills, but I'm not sure, under this lucid dream, I'm not sure where I was taking it to exactly, but it's like he gave me this drill, and I walked off. But here's the funny part, because some of these lucid dreams, you could smell things and taste things and everything. So he gave me this drill, and it was really old and crappy. I mean, it wasn't crappy, but it was just really old looking. It still worked and everything. It was real old looking. And I smelled it, and it smelled like really musty, like a mold and stuff. You know how things are, will give off that smell if they sit there in a drawer or whatever for a long, long time. And I could totally smell it clearly under this lucid dream. And, but I looked at the brand name of it, and I even remember the brand name, which a lot of times those details are really hard to remember. A lot of times if you don't write it down, once you wake up, you'll forget if hours go by or whatever. But yeah, the brand name was Assenger. Assenger. And I know I've seen that name somewhere, but I can't remember where I saw it. But it's just funny, little details like that, like I'll remember. Like I say, it was kind of a crappy lucid dream, but it's kind of funny, the drill, and smelling that strong, moldy smell, that mildew smell of the drill. And when I looked at it, it was really old looking, like 50 years old or older. But, that was kind of crappy one. So lately they've been giving me kind of crappy lucid dreams. But this one was like A+. This one was back in either 2014 or 2015. And so the flat-faced reptilian being, he showed himself in this experience to me. And so that was kind of cool. Because a lot of times they don't do that. You have to like beg them to do that. And so anyway, basically, and like I say, I think this was after I already got back from England, because I went in 2013 and 2014, and then I didn't go back. And so this experience was after that, or in 2015. But, yeah, so, anyway, I wrote it down, too. And it's just sometimes an impression that I get or whatever, but I felt like a gray started this scenario and a reptilian came in the scene, to manipulate it or create it to his liking. It's just impression that I got. So I believe both of, and there's other lucid dreams and virtual reality lucid dreams that I've had like this, where I felt like it was both that created it for me, a gray and a reptilian. But anyway, it was fun. It was so long and detailed. I felt like I was out of body for hours, but I think only 1 hour. So this scenario went down. I first felt my body travel at high speed, like I felt my mind and my body travel at a high speed. Then boom, I was plopped into a very clear abduction scenario. Okay, and then I put, although I'm out of body, doesn't mean my surroundings are real or that I am in another real dimension, so to speak. Most of the time, my surroundings are total created virtual reality by the aliens. Sometimes I am in a genuine dimension, though, with the beings. Yeah, like sometimes I really do believe, like I could be in other dimensions, and sometimes they're just kind of, created, artificially created, but yet, well, I don't care. They still feel real to me, But, so anyway, I was placed in an unfamiliar small living area with a refrigerator and one bed. And basically, it just kind of felt like it was just a very, very small 285 square foot little studio apartment. That's how it started. And this was completely A+, virtual reality out of body experience. And anyway, my great aunt died a long, long time ago, and so they put her in this scenario many years later, which was 2014 or 2015. But my great aunt was laid there in a bed, dying, and I was standing there looking at her. And of course, I witnessed that before when she was in her bed at her house back in 1994 or whatever. I was standing there, me and my uncle, my grandma, my aunt. My mom, we were standing there and she was dying of cancer or whatever. So I already witnessed that before. So the aliens threw that in here. But, okay, back to the abduction. There was other family members standing around under this abduction. Like my mom, my uncle, my grandma, my sister, and I think my stepdad. But anyway, when I looked down on my Aunt Maggie, she did not look pleasant. Of course, she was under the scenario, she was dying. But she didn't look pleasant at all. She looked very sick and just not pleasant at all. I remember thinking, after I looked at her dying in her little 285 square foot studio apartment, but in real life, she lived in a 2,600 square foot house in real life. My grandma's house. My grandma bought it after my Aunt Maggie died. But anyway, so the aliens had been knowing that I had been wanting to like taste things under my scenarios. So in this experience, they made me eat cheese. And like I say, this little studio apartment had one refrigerator and just like one bed and maybe like a table. But anyway, so after I looked at my Aunt Maggie, I was thinking in my head while I was standing there, this is my chance. I have always wanted to eat something when I am out of body to see if I can still taste food. I manifested a perfume bottle during an out-of-body abduction and smelled the perfume just fine, but had never ate anything yet while out of body. Or at least I don't remember, back when I was younger or whatever. The ETs knew I had been wanting to eat something while out of body. Okay, so so then I walked up to the refrigerator, which was behind me, and I opened it up and it was all immaculate, which in real life my great aunt was very orderly and clean. And the aliens, they know I love sharp or extra sharp cheddar cheese. And the only thing that was in this refrigerator was a hunk of cheese to the left and a knife to the right on the middle rack. And so I saw some small cheese in a small bag. I saw some cheese in a small bag with a knife. Like I say, the aliens know I love sharp cheddar cheese. When I looked at the refrigerator, I saw some cheese in a small bag with a knife, and it was on the middle rack. And like I say, the whole refrigerator was like completely clean and empty except for that cheese. I cut some off, and this is all out of body. I cut some off and ate it while out of body. But this is funny part. It did, like as I was sitting there eating it out of body, it took a few seconds before, I don't know, it's weird. It's like there's a delay. It took a few seconds before I started tasting the cheese, but I finally did. Where like if you eat cheese in this dimension, you taste it immediately. Well, when you're out of body, or maybe the aliens are controlling that, I don't know. But when you're out of body, it's like there's a delay, and it takes a few seconds before you taste the cheese. It was cool. It tasted just like sharp cheddar. Then this is the second part of the scenario. After I was in the studio apartment with my aunt, then I was not thrown, but you know what I'm saying, I was placed into amusement park scenario outdoors. They have taken me to amusement parks many times before. I felt like I was walking around in an amusement park. I walked around for hours, it seemed. It was very real. Okay, even though I was in an amusement park, I do not remember seeing any rides or anything out at the distance. But it's like, he put me in an amusement park after that studio apartment. And so anyway, I walked around for hours, it seemed. It was very real. Then I eventually met up with the group, basically the crop circle group that I had went to England with in real life previously. So then I eventually met up with the crop circle group and sat around the table. I was in this big room, like almost like a cafeteria. Like I was in a big room, but it didn't really seem like a restaurant. It just seemed like a big cafeteria in a big hotel or something. Then I eventually met up with the crop circle group and sat around the table eating, and this was funny because we were eating Thanksgiving dinner inside a building. And so that was kind of weird why they made it Thanksgiving. I remember one person, I'm not going to name who that person was, but I know who it was. Anyway, I was sitting there at the table to the right, and she was to my left, and there was another bunch of crop circle people at the table. And this is what's really weird. Like I felt it and everything under the abduction. I was drawing or sucking out, I don't know if it was their sexual energy or just energy, period. But the alien was making me like suck their energy or something. It was really weird. I felt it and just sat there feeling it come to me. Like all this energy come to me. I don't know what the hell the alien was doing. But, he wasn't like taking energy from me. Like I didn't feel weak after I got up or anything like that. And I wasn't aroused or anything, but I just felt like he was making me suck all of that person's energy, making it come to me. I don't know if it was considered sexual energy or just energy. I felt it as I just sat there feeling it come to me like a vacuum force. I even remember having a conversation with her first. My food just seemed to appear on my table, and I remember quibbling to her about how I was picky and I didn't eat my food like that, and that I had to think long and hard about my food before I wanted to order it. Like, they just gave me this food on the table, and I don't like Thanksgiving food anyway. I guess the aliens know that, you know? And so I was telling her I had to think long and hard about my food before I even ordered it. It was like it was ordered for me, but I didn't want it like that. And I don't like Thanksgiving items, foods anyway. She was acting like I was being difficult. I remember sitting at that table a long, long time with all of us crop circle group members. But another thing the aliens like doing, and in this experience, he left me abandoned. He's always abandoned me. Some of the beings, this being is always like abandoned me in my scenarios. And I know this was the same being that gave me 3, 4, 5 other England type of theme scenarios. Because they all have the same themes in them, like abandoning me, England, countryside, stuff like that. Okay, so I was sitting at that table for a long time with all of us crop circle members. Next thing, I was walking with one of the younger members. I totally remember what she looked like. She had short brown hair. She was somebody familiar to me, but she didn't exactly in real life go on the crop circle tour. She wasn't there with me, you know, but it was somebody that was familiar to me. And she was on my left and I was on my right. And we walked out the door, you know, from that hotel cafeteria or whatever. We walked out the door and we were all heading for a train to England. Okay, and as I looked up ahead, I saw like the stairs go down into the terminal, straight ahead. The other members got ahead of us, so I was left with this one woman with brown hair on my left, and she looked like she was like 27 or something like that. I was dependent on her leading me around. I didn't know where I was at all, so I was basically, you know, lost without her. I remember seeing the train entrance and everything as we were walking along the sidewalk. I started talking to her about aliens and other dimensions and stuff. As we were walking, she was on my left and I was on my right. I was on the right and she was on my left. As we were walking, and like I say, I was talking about aliens and dimensions and stuff as we were walking, and she acted like she wasn't interested in the slightest. And the next thing I knew, she ran ahead of me fast. Well, actually, she didn't run. She started walking really fast ahead of me. Then she totally disappeared. And I was standing there like all abandoned. I was thinking, how the heck am I going to find my way around England and back again? I don't know the train route. That's what I was thinking in the scenario. I was banking on that woman would abandon me like that. This is a recurring theme with the aliens. They are little brats and always abandoning me. Well, I don't care. I still like them. Like I said, I wrote this experience down. Okay, and this is the funny part. Then I accidentally, this is after that. Then I remember accidentally going into the men's restroom and I was seeing men's bald heads over the stalls, like really tall men with bald heads over the stalls. And this is when I smelled a strong smell of urine smell. Then I thought to myself, dang, I think I'm in the wrong bathroom. Then I walked out. And I have been in men's bathrooms before, you know, so I guess they're like mocking that, or they're mocking the fact that these little punks. There was this tranny at my high school, and these little punks, I was in trouble or something. I was in study hall or something like that. And they were like, are you the ones that would always go into the men's bathroom? And I was like, no. So the aliens are probably mocking that. I have been in men's bathroom before, you know, like at a gas station and nobody's looking, and, you know, the women's bathroom is all like locked up or whatever. I never sit on the toilet though. Okay, then I thought to myself, dang, I think I'm in the wrong bathroom. Then I walked out. Before I walked out, I looked into the mirror, which was right near the exit door to the right. The mirror was to the right as I was walking out the exit door. And this was the funny part. A male reptilian, a flat-faced male reptilian, was shape-shifting through my face behind me. It was so cool. Like I was looking in the mirror, and I could see his face shape-shifting right through me, behind me. Like through my ethereal face or whatever. And he was this being right here looks very malevolent, but the being in my scenario, you know, was just kind of very benevolent, very more human looking, you know what I mean? Like this looks like a pure demon, but it's kind of a flat-faced one, but I don't know who drew that. But anyway, so So that part was cool. And then, of course, I smelled the strong urine. They even made me smell one time, and they're always sticking me in bathrooms. They even made me smell under this other awesome lucid dream over on Lombard Street, where my grandma used to live. They made me smell like this woman. It smelled like a woman being on her period. But anyway, they're like total perverts like that. But they're totally like benign, you know. So that was cool that the being actually showed himself to me, and I actually was talking to them and asking them if they would show themselves to me. And sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. I have another experience too where a flat-faced being showed himself to me. But that was a different one. That wasn't the same one that gave me this experience. But I haven't talked about that other experience. Okay, the last part of the scenario was super funny. It was really, really funny. The last part of the scenario, anyway, the reptilians, they're very animated and very comical. The way they present things to you under your scenarios and out-of-body experiences. But the last part of the scenario was totally hilarious because the woman that was doing this was kind of old, you know, like 80 years old. So anyway, so lastly, I was at my destination in the English house with the hosts. Yeah, I was sitting there and I remember seeing, you know, the hosts standing around. So lastly, I was at my destination in England, at the English house with the host, which was, you know, the bed and breakfast. And I remember the group had to hurry and go take the riding horse lessons. I remember seeing some of them standing up and riding the horse. They were not sitting down. It was funny. The aliens were very animated. But anyway, one of the women was, she was like trolloping to the right, you know, in the grass, and she was like standing up like, giddy up, giddy up, giddy up. And she was standing up. That part was hilarious. It was very, very comical. I know why the aliens put that in there, because when we were in England for real, like we were in the crop circle on a road, and this horse just came out of nowhere. I cocked my head to the left, and there was this horse just in my face. His head was in my face through the window, and I'm like, where the heck did this horse come from? And also, I saw some riding, you know, I saw some people riding horses when we were in England in real life, you know, when I was in England. I saw some people riding horses, and I thought that would be kind of fun if we could have done that, you know, too, as well as looking at crop circles. But we never did, but I thought it would have been kind of fun, you know, to ride horses, you know, as in, what do you call it, excursion or whatever. Because I did see some people riding horses. I'm sure it cost money, but, you know. Anyway, so I know that's why the aliens put that in there with the horse, because they knew I did kind of want to maybe ride some horses when we were there. And the fact that we were there stopped and stalled on a dirt road about to figure out what crop circle where we were going to go to. I looked over to my left, and this horse was just sticking his head through my window. I'm like, where the heck did this horse come from? So that was kind of cool. It's like the horse knew me too, and like, you know, I've never even really been around horses. But that part was funny and animated when, especially, you know, the 80-year-old woman was standing up on the horse, like trolloping, like as if she was totally skilled at riding horses. It was pretty cool. And very animated and comical. But yeah, man, if you, once you get attuned to these beings, I mean, they'll compete, they'll duplicate the same things over and over again. I mean, they'll repeat the same things over and over and over again. And like the tall, when they put that tall, the tall men with the bald heads, they put those kind of people in my scenarios many, many times. And it's like they won't really show me their face. Well, sometimes I can kind of see their faces, but they'll show me these. Well, one time they did show me these really tall, but they were more like aliens, but they look human, and they had bald heads. They were really, really tall. But they've done that before, put those tall, you know, humans or aliens with bald heads in my scenario. And like I say, they're always sticking me in bathrooms. And so that's kind of funny, but they repeat the same things over and over and over again. But what's really cool is no one experience is exactly alike. And some may feel very crappy, may seem very crappy, and you could tell they're just very crappy and artificially created. They're not created very well by the alien, and sometimes they create D- experiences and sometimes A+ experiences. But this was like an A experience. Whereas the lucid dreams I've been getting lately are like D+. But anyway, this is my alien abduction experience by a flat-faced reptilian being. He showed me his face in the experience, and he placed me in England, placed my great aunt in it, and my grandma, my mom, my stepdad, and amusement park. And like I say, that's not the first time. Right after walking out of a building, I'm bam in an amusement park. That's the same theme that happened before under that abduction. Oh, that was such a freaking blast. Where the reptilians, where it was like a group of reptilians, at least 2, maybe 3 or 4, abducted me and courted and romanticized me. Yeah, that was kind of cool. I mean, it was kind of rogue because it was a separate abduction. The sexual part was like a separate abduction, just bam, right after that first abduction. But it was kind of rogue, but it was fun. So anyway, thanks for listening. Man, it's not even like June yet, and we're having like a heat wave. Well, anyway, thanks for listening.